thank you so much for joining me on my channel and seeing what we are going to bring through for your February 2024 soul story. If you have a sun rising or moon in the sign, then you might find that this reading affords you some insights that will help you to navigate through the month ahead. So we're going to open up this month with the energy of the world. You know, we have a full moon in your sign this month, and the moon emits no light of its own. Okay, so it's a reflection of the sun's light. That's what you're seeing when that full moon is so bright in the night sky. And as a reflector, and you know, in reflection of this relationship between the sun and the moon, the powerful contrast, it's kind of similar to what you're going to be experiencing as you move through the month of February. Okay, there will be powerful contrasting events, powerful contrasting emotions in your life, and all of it, in the way it's being presented to you and activated within you, is meant to help you to prepare and to practice patience and to persevere. Now, we know that we're coming to the end of a cycle when the world shows up. We know that it's important to recognize our accomplishments and what we've gained and how we've grown from that experience. And one thing's for certain is, you know, when we consider growth, it often requires boundless amounts of patience and rest, and often way more than we're willing to give ourselves. And so if you are coming to a point of conclusion with regards to something, whether it be celebratory in nature or there's a deep sense of relief through the month that you're able to move away from it, understand that the growth that it's brought you requires a little bit of integration, and that might mean that you just need to take a step back before you fully assess what it means for you, how it's changed you, and also perhaps just give yourself that little bit more rest wherever you can through the month, because February is set to be quite a unique experience. It's very complex and layered in the way that the energy is showing up for us, okay? And so what we find is that, you know, through the first part of the month, there's a diligence and a focus. We've still got some planets moving through Capricorn that are going to be super supportive for helping you to see some traction and almost kind of get some momentum and progress early on. As we move into the second part of February, there's much more emphasis around facing and acknowledging things in regards to healing. Some of the aspects that are showing up are going to put some strong emphasis around what's going on in relationships and really how they are underpinning your experiences, how they shape you, the way in which you are able to either thrive and feel that sense of security in what potential exists, or perhaps where you're limiting and holding yourself back. The World and now the Empress, two powerful major arcana showing up in February for you. And so really the growth, the birthing of something new, and the creativity that comes as a result of what you've lived, learned, loved is important. I do think you will be able to see beyond anything that is feeling like it's breaking you, okay? So, you know, regardless of your experiences right now, if you're just feeling the stretch of the discomfort of change, or if there is something much more acute in terms of affecting you on a deeper emotional level, you're going to be able to find the harmony within the contrast, and the conflict is what I'm being shown with regards to this. Now, early on in the month, and be aware, like February has a strong influence with Uranus, okay? And we have this sort of surprising, expect the unexpected all the way through February, okay? So Venus is going to trine with Uranus on the 7th. So some news and information surfacing around that time, which I think may afford you a moment to consider a second chance. That might be giving yourself a second chance to think about something again, anew, afresh, based on what information or change happens. It might be a second chance you're offering someone else, but that's the kind of vibe that I get coming through here. Now remember, Aquarius energy for you is lighting up your 6th house. So those day-to-day routines, the things that we, do on a consistent basis, which we understand over time are the things that really create meaningful change for us, right? But it's also the way in which we sort of want to move through the world, how we show up, the service that we bring. And of course, you're the natural ruler of that 6th house. So you're very aware, of how the influences of that kind of season and cosmic conversation, need to be understood and integrated. What I want to say is, as we approach the Aquarius new moon on the 9th, we've got a square with Uranus. So there's a pressure point there. But you know what, Virgo? What's pulling you apart can also be the thing that brings you back together. Okay? So hear that message. What is pulling you apart can also be the thing that's bringing you back together. So whether that's with another individual, whether that's something going on within you and you've got that split energy, like I said, this contrast through the month, is showing up in a way to highlight to you what needs to be resolved. Okay? What needs to be resolved. Now we've got Chinese Year of the Dragon arriving on the 10th, right under that Aquarius new moon. Movement, growth, focus, a sense of direction. You might want to check out my Dragon Soul Guided Meditation over on Sacred Soul Support on my website. You'll find all my sacred titles, all of the things that I do to create and support you in your spiritual practices, along with ways to work with me. Yeah, so that's over on romywiser.com. So we've got the 2 of Cups coming up around this new moon, Chinese New Year celebrations, and the empowerment that you're feeling actually, because I do have a sense of something through the month of February is giving you a little bit of confidence, but you're also going to be asking those really important questions around that time in the month. What matters to me? What do I believe in? What do I want? Where is this going? And, again, that translates into the important relationships that are a part of our world. And, whether they be platonic, business relationships, friendships, partners, it matters not. The emphasis in February is like there's an action plan for healing here. There's a moment to take power back. And there's an opportunity to face up to the bigger relationship issues. And so, you're feeling into the deep desire to want to do things differently. And at its root is a desire for deeper intimacy. And again, that translates, beyond just romantic. It's just about feeling more present, feeling more connected, feeling more seen, feeling like you're able to be more vulnerable and more authentic. All of these things translate into a sense and a desire to want to interact with people and allow relationships to exist in your world in a way that's really supportive of how you are evolving at a higher conscious level. Okay? Now, one of the things I also want to say to you is what can you drop or move or push back? Because what you're showing me here is that you want time and space. And the reason that you want time and space is because there's something of a priority here. You're coming into harmony with something, with someone, but you feel passionate about it. You're devoted to it, even if it's about your own self-care. And so the 2 of Cups, it says, let's make time for this because it's what will help to create a sense of inner balance. And of course, 6th house wants us to do that. We need to have our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being as our top priority here. Okay? I think there's a sense of you not wanting to do things kind of half-baked, and then almost like trying to do everything in the same way that you've always done it. But sometimes there's a need to act, and February certainly has an energy of act now in regards to something. You might be fearful that if you do it now, it's not going to be enough, or it's going to leave you with a feeling that you've almost like not got enough to give, or like there's just like there's a sort of secondary conversation that I see sort of playing out in your head where you're kind of fearing the worst. So it's almost like you'll pull back and do nothing at all. That wouldn't be advisable. Sometimes we just need to to do what we can do, and then we need to hold the intention of the fullness of what we desire. And it's in the intention that we help to kind of pre-pave the energy for that pathway to exist and to start to open itself up. So even if in February you can only do a very small amount, yeah, it still matters. So the Five of Swords for me feels a little bit in the way that your mind is sort of taking you and somewhat, activating. And this is in part to do with why the healing is so necessary through the month of February, where that victim energy, plays up. And we all address it within ourselves. It exists within all of us. So you have to be aware of how it's kind of showing up for you. And, there might be those stories, those limitations that are saying, well, there's no point in doing this. Or, if I'm not going to be able to do it the way that I want, then, I'm not doing it at all. And it's those kind of statements that we make with ourselves and that we express to others that, end up kind of going against the very thing that we want. And we've all done it. You say something to someone and it's not really what you think. It's not really what you want. You're almost kind of playing that mind or emotional game. Yeah. But this is the month where you say, okay, let's just stop doing that. Let's just try to be super honest. And even if there are aspects to this situation or experience that you have going on right now, what we're going to be able to see is that it's better to kind of have that and address, where things are less desirable, but still then find a solution and a meaningful way forward. And, that comes as a result of you asking those questions of what matters to me, what I believe in, what I want, where it's going. Because so you need to have that clarity first before you bring it to the table to connect with anybody else. Now, things are not straightforward. Fives always tell us that, we've got a few challenges and hurdles to overcome here. We may also feel that, I'm kind of damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. If I move forward in this direction, I'm going to end up, upsetting the apple cart over here, or upsetting someone else, or that compromise will lead me to kind of feeling less empowered than I want to. So, and it just sort of feels like there isn't necessarily an ideal pathway, and yet we're still inviting you to act, and we're still inviting you to hold the highest intention. Because what you can't necessarily see is how fate intervenes then to start to help create the ideal outcome and scenario, not just for you, but for all parties concerned. So you just need to be concerned with what's going to be in the best interests of my soul experience at this moment. And as we move into that middle part of the month, we have a whole stellium of energy showing up in Aquarius. Mars and Venus shifting into the sign 13th, 16th. And, what you start to see as a result of that is a way to express yourself differently, a way to do it differently. Being struck by really innovative, inspiring ideas, people showing up that are really kind of different and interesting and not like the normal people that you would connect to, but yet having something really valuable to say, showing you very different perspective, showing you a kind of outlook or a sense of the future that you can kind of really get on board with. So there's a lot of illumination, a lot of light pouring in, and a lot of conversations that feel incredibly progressive. Around that Valentine's energy, people will be wanting to sort of do things a bit differently this year. They'll maybe find themselves attracted to people they wouldn't ordinarily entertain. There's some nice aspects coming in with Neptune around then, if it's a time that you celebrate, that will make this actually quite a harmonious time to kind of receive or to hear the things that you want. But what we also need to be aware of in the contrast of February is that, you have to be able to accept that, you're not under any obligation to make sense or justify anything to anybody. And where I see you kind of getting into hot water, okay, a little bit, is when, you feel a certain way or you take a certain action, and then it's like you're trying to backtrack to justify it. And if you find yourself doing that, that's when you're more likely to become entangled, get frustrated, and then it just kind of prevents you from being able to sort of completely follow through. Because one of the things that February wants from us is the follow through. Now, as the sun shifts into Pisces, and we're going to work with that 7th house energy, we've got this really powerful aspect on the 22nd, the 222 portal, Venus conjunct with Mars. Big relationship issues getting addressed and talked about around this time. Look, the energy's in motion. The momentum is moving, and you know what? All the staffs are going in the same direction here. Yeah? So this tells me we're on the same page. We're having the conversations, we're on the same page. There's a little bit of tension as you see the sword kind of like prepared, almost like what's coming at me here. And even though we have some things from left field, a couple of curveballs that might show up, overall there's a harmonious feeling here. So don't be led into the kind of expectations of the worst case scenario. Okay? So the 222 portal is going to say like there's new opportunities that can surface here. Remember what I said, what's pulling you apart can also be the thing that brings you back together. And then of course we will make our way towards your full moon on the 24th. Venus squaring Jupiter, another pressure point. Our sense of value in our relationships, in our prosperity consciousness, in the way in which we surround things that make us feel beautiful, and how they are limited, how the need for expansion and the desire to see things progress and change is under the spotlight and the microscope, and in some ways either making us feel backed into a corner or creating a situation, a dynamic that is wanting the breakthrough, the break free. Remember, Uranus very active throughout the month. And of course, under Virgo full moon, what we'll also see is the way in which this affects us on a physical level. So you'll be acutely aware of, you know, the headaches that you have, the digestion issues that show up, the back pain that rears itself when you are involved and participating in experiences that on an energetic level affect you deeply. So there's some things here to address and resolve. And on the 19th, we've got this exact North Node Chiron conjunction. Here is an opportunity to heal through the crisis. Yeah, there's a take your power back moment, but you know, it requires us to sort of get up close and personal with what feels like the ouch. Okay, so that means saying the hard things, doing the hard things, and it being in contrast to perhaps what you want, you know. On the surface, everything kind of looks rosy. We dig a little deeper and we'll be like, well, you know what? That still hasn't been addressed yet. Universe is not going to let you move forward until it is, because this is about, for you, really starting to understand the difference of energy in 2024. And it is different. Yeah, there's a vibrancy and an activeness with it. And it's looking for something from you. Something that you haven't delivered before, that you haven't shown up for in this way or understood or integrated. And this is the beginning of it really starting to land in a meaningful way. So this healing crisis point that we arrive at in February pertaining to the relationships, because they are our greatest teacher, yeah, will be the huge breakthrough moment that you need. And then of course, from that experience, allow this discussion with yourself, with others, you know, fill in the blank, around second chances. So what that means to you and how that translates will become very clear as you approach that Virgo full moon. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version, Virgo. You'll find that link in the comment and description box underneath. Talk for another 30 minutes or so. Also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. So please do join me if it's resonating. It's a way to support my channel. Your investment means so much. Thank you. So we're just going to look at some clarifiers and see the direction we'll take that reading in for you. Okay, so we've got the energy of the world coming through with the Ace of Wands and the 2 of Swords. This month you can also check out my guided soul journey for relationships to support you in the progress of any situation where you feel like you need a little extra insight and clearance. We've got the 2 of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, like that showing up. Knight of Cups, 2 of Cups. Some nice romantic vibes for those of you that are focused around this. 7 of Pentacles. Okay. 3 of Cups, 6 of Swords. All the decks are always listed below, Virgo. High Priestess and the Emperor. 3 of Pentacles and the Empress. Again, Empress and Emperor there with the High Priestess. Strong power moves there. Okay. we're going to go ahead and look at Life Soul Vision Oracle. This is one of my sacred titles, so check it out over on my website if you haven't had a chance to do so. Let's see what we have coming through. Blossoming Soul Song, one of my favorites. Karmic Cause and Effect. Throat Energy. Spirit Crane. We've got Nourish Your Inner Wealth. And Cosmic Rebellion. Been showing up all the readings so far this month, which is perfect with this Uranus energy. Okay, let's have a look at the Rose Oracle. So a message for Virgo for February. Right, we have Whispers of Mother Earth, creativity, ideas, inspiration, artist, writer, channel. Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you will continue this conversation over on the extended. I wish you a beautiful month of February. Take good care of yourself. I hope this helps you throughout the month, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.